So now we have our actions installed in Photoshop, and we're probably really excited to start using them. But there's a few simple things I want to go over before we start editing our photos. One, I think it's important to understand that there is no magic button. The best way to make sure that you have great product photos is to be taking great images. So if you're not really sure about the basics of photography or how to get well-exposed images straight from your camera, then I really suggest that you learn about the camera that you have, you learn about the exposure triangle, and you learn about the basics of photography. And then you can use these actions to enhance already good photos. The next thing I want to explain is that a Photoshop action isn't going to work on every single image. Sometimes you'll run an action on your image and it'll be way too strong. Or you'll run an action on your image and it's not going to look good on every single part of the image. So I'm going to explain to you how we fix that. To demonstrate this, I'm going to run the color pop action on this headband. Now there's some other things wrong with this image that we're going to fix, but first I'm just going to do this to show you how sometimes an action doesn't look great right away. Whoa, so that's really oversaturated and it's affected the entire image, and really we only need the color pop just on these roses and leaves. So how do we fix this? The first thing we need to do is we need to lower the opacity of this layer. So you just click on the layer that you want to fix, you go to the opacity, and then you bring down the slider. And then once I have it where I want it, where these flowers look nice and red like they are in real life, but they don't look really over edited, now I need to get this effect off the rest of the image. Well, we do that using the layer mask. Each of the actions that you can run in the action set will have a layer mask. This layer mask is white. So that means in order to hide parts of the layer mask, we want to use a black brush. So I'm going to select my brush. I'm going to make sure that the hardness is set to 0. And I'm going to make sure that the color is set to black. If you have some different colors down here, it's really easy to reset your swatches. You just press D on your keyboard. You press D on your keyboard, which is going to set it to white and black. And then to get black on top, we're just going to press X on our keyboard. So now I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to paint over the layer mask, and I'm going to get this effect off of the other parts of my image because I just want it on the roses. I don't want it saturating or doing anything to the colors of the rest of the image. So I brush it off, and if it's a little strong in some other places, like maybe it's a little too strong here, I can set the opacity of my brush down to say like 20%, and I can brush part of the action off over these flowers here. So I'm not getting rid of the entire action, I'm just getting rid of the parts where it's a little bit too bright. And then once I like it, I can start to run other actions on my image. So let's take a look at the before and after. So this was before the color pop, and this was after. And it did a great job of just really giving those flowers some pop. But as you can see, it wasn't just a click and done type of thing. Sometimes you're going to have to do a little bit of adjustment to the actual layers that are created with your actions. So that's how an action works, and then in the next video I'll actually show you how we go about editing some of our images.